everybody, and welcome to Profit Fishing Gold. This is Matt Trader, and today is Sunday, November 19th, 2017. And we're going to go over the weekly recap for the week ending November 17th, 2017, which was on Friday. Just go over some of the trades that were taken based on launch list publications, and look at the stocks that are currently in flight and stocks that are waiting to be launched, hopefully for next week. So all I can say is it's been a fantastic week. We've had 3 back-to-back excellent profitable weeks, and this week was no different. And it's probably the best week since we began the launch list process at the beginning of October of last year. And the discipline and the time that I spend usually overnight to look up some of the stocks and put them on the launch list has definitely paid off. And I hope you guys can understand the amount of effort as well as what it takes to really be consistently profitable. It's very easy to make profits when you have stocks like the shipper stocks or a few stocks that are been running, crazily over the last couple weeks, 100, 200, 400, 500% moves in single days. So those moves are definitely exciting. They definitely can make your accounts grow, but they're not consistent. And if you are planning to enter the market only and trade 1 week a year, maybe that's a strategy you can do. It's just very, very hard to consistently try to find these big winners. So unless you really understand the market very well and spend the time every night to understand what stocks are actually good candidates for profitable launches, other than that, you're kind of maybe doing more gambling than actually trading. So before we jump into the results, I just want to kind of go over the SPY quickly. As you can see, the SPY has continued to stage upper highs, but then over the last few sessions, it pulled down for a correction, and it's trading sideways a little bit. Hasn't yet broken the all-time highs again. We've been seeing a lot of dumping days, which I can call distribution days based on the IVD kind of explanation of what a distribution day is. So we've been noticing, I usually count 25 days. So this was a week ago, so I have to move this vertical bar probably by 5 sessions. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to reset the count. So these should be about 25 trading sessions worth of trading. Now, what you can see, again, the distribution day is a day where the average index dropped by more than, I think, 0.5% with above average volume. I don't really care about the 0.5% part because that varies by index, but I do look at the volume. So if you look at the volume where we've had a red day and the volume is higher than the prior day, then I would count that as a distribution day. So let me make sure that I have 25 sessions. There's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So back all the way here. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So I think it's a 25. So anyway, let's count the distribution day. So we had one. Let's see. This one was number 1 because it was higher volume than the day prior, and it was selling day. So you got 1, you got 2, then we have 3, and we have 4, and we have 5, and we have 6. So we've had 6 distribution days in the last 25 sessions, which again indicates that things might be heading for a correction. It doesn't mean that's going to happen. We're in a market where the dip, buying the dip is the name of the game, but you know what? That at some point will change. It's just a matter of time and when it's going to happen. So just be cautious about that. The market has been very, very helpful, obviously, with our winnings moving, a lot of buying and stuff like that. The earnings season has also pushed some of these stocks higher. which made it easier for us to lock in profits. But again, be very careful, especially if we test this high level again and we fail to break it. That might be another indication that we're either, going to continue sideways or start to take a dip below. So with that, let's take a look at the profits for this week. So this week we've added $28,500 to the portfolio. Trading only, I think there were 13 launches total. Very, very spot on in terms of accuracy. But we've managed to push the portfolio. If you look at this week, we had a nice little spike here. And the reason why we had that spike was several stocks we held on to longer than the profit target because there was indications that said otherwise, to hold on to them. And we've also locked out on one of the stocks that we'll talk about. So overall for the year, 1,600% growth, starting with a $25,000 account and only sticking to 2,500 shares per trade. Fantastic and exciting performance. I have never expected this when I started, and not sure if this is sustainable or not, but if the data shows anything, at least over the last 11-12 months, it has been sustainable. So this is the launch list or the launch results for last week. We've had, like I said, 13 launches. We've had, out of 13, 11 winners and 2 losers. And if you look at one of the losers, ZYII, although it was a loser, I ended up actually trading it again, but I didn't really put it on the list because it was a little bit off the launch and profit targets, and I was just kind of frustrated from that stock because it's a big mover, and it kind of dropped down right as soon as I entered in, sort of a revenge trade, but it looked healthy. So I re-entered it and make a quick profit on that one. But it was, one of the 2 losers. The other one was just on Friday, came on the list on Friday, and we ended up aborting with 36 cents loss. So looking at the winners, TIME has definitely been the star of the week. And I would say definitely locked out on that one because the intention was never to take it to $4.20 of profit. The intent was really to get out of it, squeeze about 35 cents of profit from the launch to the profit target. But something happened overnight. I think there's rumors of a buyout of TIME assets by other publishers or other media company, which boosted that stock really overnight and ended up gapping up on the day after we've entered on the 15th. So took profit after a nice move up to $4.20. IGT $1.80, BOOT $1.64, TCO $1.13. I mean, you look at these compared to what the profit targets were, and these are, twice or 3 times as much as the profit target. Now, where does that show up? It shows up in your profit to loss actual. So although we wanted to only get profit to risk ratio of 116, we ended up with a profit to loss ratio of 328%, with an accuracy at 85%, which is 11/13. Then our total profit per share, $11.04, is probably the highest I think I've had in a week. I could be mistaken, but that, in recent memory, that's the one. I have to go back and look at all the data and see whether we've had a better week or not. Overall, fantastic week. You take $11.04, multiply by 2,500 shares, that gives you the 28,500, which was the total additional profit that was added to the portfolio this week. So let's take a quick look at some of the charts that were associated with these moves and review the moves and kind of an analysis of them. So let's go up here and let's talk about TIME, which was the best stock to perform this week. And again, TIME was on the launch list for November 15th based on the action the prior day. So it was definitely staging an uptrend. We had a crossover the 5 over the 8. It broke the 50-day moving average, which is a very strong indicator with above average volume. And then we had the next challenge was the 100-day moving average. So the plan there was really to break the resistance of the prior day of this day and push towards the 100-day moving average, which coincides also with some resistance in this area. Now, it did that. We entered and held on to it on the 15th, but then the next day gapped up, which was very, very lucky, and then moved up a little bit higher. and I ended up taking profit on the 17th, which was on this day here at $16.85. So move from $12.65 to $16.85, which was really, really fantastic. So yeah, I ended up taking profit here on the 17th. All right, so very, very strong winner, and can't complain about it really. IGT was the next one on the list, and IGT also came on our launch list for November 15th based on the gap and the move on the 14th. It was earnings above average volume. Usually with earnings you have more push towards, you know, old time resistances, and if you look back on the left, the idea there was to enter, break the high of this day, where of the earning day, and then push towards somewhere around this resistance level here. It ended up actually pushing even further with very, very strong volume for 2 days in a row. Ended up taking profit on the 17th as well, which was on Friday at 29.35. So very strong move. And the key obviously is detecting them. And how I detect them, I use my TI scanners, trade idea scanners. And I've been trying to do actually a couple of things differently. So if you've noticed that the accuracy has been picking up, and that most of these stocks have been you know, driving towards a profit resolution fairly quickly, I've changed two things. Number one was on the scanners, I've tweaked my volume traded per day. I had a little bit maybe on the light side, so I only, because there's so many stocks that are coming up in the scanners, I've limited the number of stocks by limiting the volume traded per day, so the average daily volume. I've tweaked that number a little bit. I've also been monitoring this average 2 range. In the past, I had as a third indicator here the relative strength, and I really find the relative strength sometimes to be irrelevant, and especially during earnings seasons, because earnings seasons is more emotionally driven, and stocks tend to move, you know, different kind of patterns than what it normally does. But then this average to range is also something that I've been tweaking. I've filtered also based on ATR. So I'm looking at stocks that can give me that window within a day or two, because, you know, on average, what this ATR is telling you is that the stock can range on a daily basis, you know, up to 80% or 90 cents, 80 cents, 90 cents. For example, this is IGT. It used to be trading on average about 75 cents, which is still very good. I'm always looking for profits in the 50, 35 to 50 cents kind of moves, with losses between, 30 to 40 or 30 to 50 cents. So it doesn't make sense to chase stocks where the average to range is less than that, because you're not going to make that profit. The stock doesn't move that much. So it's good to narrow down the search to these type of stocks. So those are two changes I made, and I think they've been starting to pay off a little bit better in terms of accuracy and time to execution and in and out. Next one was TCO, and that one was very, very fast. It came on the list on the 13th, and it launched in the first pretty much 1 minute. And sometimes when my stocks are picked prior to very, very close to a launch price, I usually put in a stop buy limit order. So what a stop limit buy order is you tell it to execute a buy order only if the stop price is met, and that stop price is the actual launch price, maybe with a 1 or 2 cents below it, and then the actual limit price is the actual launch price. So if that doesn't execute, I usually wait for a pullback, because it will probably revisit that launch price again, and then I put a regular limit order, or I put a market order depending on how the stock is behaving. But TCO came on our list because of the action on this day, on the 10th, which was I think last Friday. So based on what it gapped up, or I had a long indicator, it had relatively large volume. So my idea for the next day was to launch it and took out the profit there, but then look at what it did after that. I mean, it did have a gap up the day after we've actually traded this on the 13th. So had I held on to it, I don't know, looks like I might have actually had to abort it, but then the next day it gapped up. And nevertheless, it was a good $1.13 move, so very, very strong winner there. We had OMER, and that one is a little bit crazy stock. It moves very, very, if you look at the average to range, I mean, this thing can swing $1.60 in a single day. It's been coming down, but it's still like $1.40, $1.45. So imagine a stock moving $1.45 and trying to capture, 50 cents without exceeding about, 40 or 30, 50 cents of a loss. So that one triggered or launched on the 15th of November right here. So it kind of tipped, it tipped a little bit, pulled back. It never actually hit the abort price, and then the next day it just followed through and pushed higher. And I think I exited right at the open, I believe, or on. So this one was launched on the 15th, and I took profit on the 17th. So I took that on Friday at the open. When it hit $20, it actually pushed to $20.40. But wasn't able to do it, so I got filled at $20.20 for OMER. Next one was EAT, and this has nothing to do with eating, but the symbol sounds like eat. Very straightforward pattern. Came on the launch list actually a while back on the 13th. Based on the action here on the 12th, the idea was to break this level of resistance and push towards this level of resistance back here. Based on the performance on this day here, it didn't. It actually pulled back, which is fine, but then it came and bounced off the moving average, the 10 moving average, sorry, the 9 moving average, EMA. Launched and made the profit in one day. So launched on the 16th here and took profit on the 17th, which was, fairly straightforward. Nice move. DRNA was the one that I think we held on probably the longest. That one was 9 days. It launched, a long time ago, early last week. Kept fiddling with the abort price, but never did. But then it staged a nice move and breakout. Took profit here on the 15th, actually, right here on this day. But then as soon as it took profit, it continued to push higher and kind of pushing against a lot of resistance. If you go back, this thing has no resistance all the way back here through 2016. So been having healthy volumes, strong earnings. So might continue to go higher. After that, COLL. This was a stock that kind of turned me to greedy, because this one was launched and took profit on the 13th, just obeying my launch price and my profit price at $14.75. That's where I took profit. But had I held on to it, I think it dipped a little bit here beyond the abort price, but it continued to move higher. And had I held on to it, maybe without being shaken out, could have captured even way more profit. This thing launched at $14.25, and right now it's at $17.14. So pretty huge move. But nevertheless, we captured 50 cents profit on it, which is pretty good. TEVA. So TEVA has been beaten down. Look at the daily chart. It's one of the ugliest daily charts you'll see. It had a huge gap down here, continued to decline. It was almost bleeding every single day, except for a couple of pops here that never were sustained. And but the pattern changed. And how do I know the pattern changed? Well, we've had 3 consecutive green days where it made higher highs and higher lows. We had a crossover of the 5 crossing the 9 EMA right here, and that's why I put it on the launch list for Friday, because it looked fairly healthy with above average volume, and it actually broke a bunch of resistances that was kind of stuck in here. So it was gap filling this area, and the idea was really to break the 1305 level, which is a whole number. And if it did that, there was no resistance really all the way to 1350, which was kind of my profit target. It actually ended up closing at 1384, but I did take profit a little bit above the 1350 at 1353. Could have actually held on to a little bit and squeezed the 20 more cents or so, but just wasn't trusting it because of all this bleeding in the past. And sometimes somebody buys up the stock so that they can just turn around and dump larger volume. So if it breaks this level here, and confirms the uptrend, we might have a test of the $15 area range, but I'm not betting on it, that much. AIRG is the next one, and that one was a profitable trade. Could have held on to it more and squeezed a few cents more, but it's an $8 stock. It came on the launch list for the 13th based on the performance on the 15th, on the 10th. The idea there was to play within this profit window here for this intraday move, which was right after earnings. So it had great earnings, had huge volume, above average volume. There was an intraday pull, push all the way to there and then pull back. So my idea was to really break that resistance of the intraday prior day, push to that profit window and a little bit maybe more to this level here. So we're looking for this one to take about 40 cents or so, 43 cents, and ended up getting them. So I exited at $8.92 from an entry at $8.55, which is a big significant move for an $8 stock. I mean, the ATR here is about 45 cents, so this thing can move within a given day of about 40 to 50 cents. And then the last winner, which was fairly quick, this one has been on the launch list forever. Back all the way back here on the October 27th. I've kept holding on to it every week because it still looked healthy, although it's holding to major daily averages. It hasn't really broken down, collapsed fairly low, and then it was all the selling was happening at below average volume, and it does have good average to range for a $2 stock. So again, the idea there when I put it on this list here for this day on the 27th was to break the resistance that was staged on the 26th and push to an area where it hasn't seen in a very long time, which is somewhere over here, June of 2016. No, so fairly last year, basically, year and a half roughly. And it curled back here, started showing some strength, and then on Friday it pushed through the launch price, quickly went to the profit price, took it and added to the basically as a winning for the week. I've also bought a sum more at $2.32 for my 401k, so maybe long term this thing might go higher. I'm still going to obey my stop loss even though it's on my 401k, but it was the nice little Friday win for the end of the week. The two losers, ZYII, which I talked about briefly, this one came on the launch list for the 13th, so you can see what happened here. The idea was to break an intraday resistance, push towards the top of that intraday move on the 10th. It did push as a launch price, and then reverted back and then pulled back and closed below the entry part. But then the next day opened lower, but then blasted through both the profit and the launch and profit prices, which I could have announced, but I did trade it very, very quickly. Like I took like 30 cents, 12, for 13 to 13.33, something like that. I can remember the actual trade, but it's not captured on this. So it's basically I turned the loser into almost a break-even winner, and then this thing continued to go higher. And in fact, this stock has a gap. So if you look where it stopped right at this level of support, and this was a prior support. Once it was broken, now it's a resistance level. So if it breaks it, it's probably going to try to push towards the 200-day moving average, or at least this $15 range. But this stock is very, very volatile. I mean, for a $13 stock, this thing ranges within $1 every day. So you can have 50-cent whips fairly easily. And then the last one is MMYT. Sorry, MMYT, that's right. That one was on Friday. We've traded this in the past, and I'm not really sure if it was a winner or not. Looked like we we lost on this one in the past as well, because it broke this resistance level, pulled back, broke this resistance level, pulled back. So it came back because of this large volume day. It came on my scanners, and I said if it broke the 50-day moving average and pushed higher, it might, you know, clear all this garble resistance and push towards testing this kind of intraday move back all the way here back in October 9th. But it failed. So it did cross the launch price over here, but then pulled back right away, and I aborted. So that was a quick loss there. 36 cents loss, but no big deal with all the other winners we've had. So overall, it's been a fantastic week, and I'm not going to complain. So that was kind of the list performance. In terms of performance card, this one is updated. The thing to notice is that for this week, both the profit to loss ratio was higher than average, as well as accuracy, which pulls the overall numbers higher. So our overall profit to loss ratio is at 254%. Our total profit per share for the year is $168, and the overall profit factor $4.58, which is higher than last week because everything was pulled up higher. Overall, 635 launches. We're still maintaining a very healthy accuracy of 64.3% for the whole year. And then if you look at the breakdown, 35% were above the profit target, 9% were at the profit target. So that's a combination of about 44% at target or above. And then we have about 20% of the stocks that were winners were less than the target. In terms of profit to loss accuracy versus the profit taking accuracy versus profit to risk ratio, again, the goal is to be in the green zone. For year to date, we are at 64.3 and 255. Now for the week, we had a plan to be at 128%. We ended up actually being at 328%, which is off the scale of this chart here. So very, 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 very excellent work week in terms of profit to loss ratio. And our average winner was 3.2 times more than our average loser. And accuracy was also fairly strong at 85%. So look where we are. I mean, we were well deep inside the profit zone, and it reflects on the winnings for this week. It also pulls the overall average. So if you look at, this is the yearly average, this is where we are. So, it kind of pushes this with it upwards. Stocks waiting for launch. We've got right now 2 stocks that are currently in flight. One of them, they both launched on Friday. NTP, which came on the list for Friday, launched on Friday, and it's holding above. Let me go to the 5-minute chart. It's holding barely above the launch price. So it basically launched right here towards the end of the day, like the last 15-20 minutes. So it's not necessarily a very strong push, but I ended up buying it anyway and holding on to it. Hopefully, we're looking at a move to $13.70. It closed at $13.30. Well, let's see where it closed. It closed at $13.35. So halfway through our profit there. Hopefully Monday it will push higher and we can exit and take our profit on that one. It's not a very strong mover, so I'm not expecting much from it. BGS, which is another stock that launched. Let me go back to the daily. Okay, low. Charts are just a little bit slow responding here. Keep saying loading and loading. Let's see if I can do this. This would be BGS. All right, I guess it doesn't want to cooperate, so I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me go back to the list because there's the stocks that are waiting for launch. Most of these we've talked about last week. The only few that we haven't talked about would be Kara through MD. I'm not sure why. I'm gonna have to refresh. Let me refresh my screen, my charts a little bit. All right, so I got them back here. All right, so let's take a look at the stocks that are waiting for launch. I apologize for the technical difficulty there. So we talked about the first vlog. So Shake Shack. I'm not sure why it's doing all this drama here. Okay, Shack. So Shake Shack came on our list for the 13th. It hasn't yet triggered. It's pulled back a little bit. I would say still not too concerning. If it breaks down this level, you know, here, then maybe it's gonna be a while before it comes back. We've had an above average selling day here, but the idea is for it to kind of retest this, revisit this area if we break through this resistance, and looking there for about 29 cents profit target. Next one is IMMU. IMMU is also came on the launch list here. The idea to try to break this level and push forward the profit target here. So we're looking at a move of about 39 cents from 13.11 to 13.50. So $13.11 pushed to a $13.50, which is really this kind of intraday move here if it replicates it. But then it pulled back fairly strongly instead of going up here on this day, a very high volume. So, but then it recovered. So it's kind of hovering in this sort of a bear flag now. So I'm not really sure if it will ever reach that profit target or the launch price, but if it does, it's more likely to push even further versus coming down. So we'll wait and see on that one. WRD is another one that is waiting for launch. Again, it came on this list based on this strong performance, but instead of pushing further, it pulled back, which is fine. Not everything launches, you know, the day we put it on the list. It's pulled back, very low volume, and then it's curling back up now with this very strong move. So if we break this level at $16.12, I'm looking for a possible move to $16.42. This is a recent IPO, and then if it breaks there, you know, watch out, because it will probably try to push further higher. There's a lot of people that were short of the stock and just sold, and now it's recovering and trending upwards. So let's see how that stock does. CIT is another one waiting for launch. That one came on the list on the 15th, and we are frozen again. I'm not sure why this is behaving this way. I apologize. Okay, CIT. All right, so CIT, the idea there is to break, you know, it had a very strong move here, and the idea was to continue, maybe push through this profit, so this kind of gap area. It didn't, it pulled back, and now it's retesting, so it potentially could come here Monday, Tuesday, no, I'm not sure when, but the idea is to break $48.07, so above the whole number with good push forward towards $48.50. So that will be our profit window there. Keep an eye on it and keep it on your list. And then MD is the last one. I mean, that one, sorry, I don't have a profit window for this one, but the idea is to break the $55.12 with a push to $52.55. So right here. Very, very small move on this chart. It's hard to even see. So I'm gonna put it here and then tell you, type it here, 52.50. So we're looking for about 50, you know, 45 to 50 cents. Very, very small move. This stock moves in a single day, you know, on average $1.50. So all the way back here, it's entering a gap area. That's why it looks very attractive if you break the 52.12 area. And why you say 52.12? So let me pull this resistance down a little bit. This one is sitting at a little bit less than 52. It has to break a whole number. It has to break it with enough conviction. So a lot of stocks, when they break whole numbers, they tend to pull back, right? Like especially, let's say it goes to 52.03 or 04. A lot of shorters will come in, try to push it down below that whole number, and you have some kind of churn before it decides whether to continue to go up or reverse and come down. So I always put my launch price above a whole number with some kind of buffer or factor of safety, if you want to call it. And in this case, because it's a $50, $52 stock, I put 12 cents as a potential push higher, because with 12 cents, that means there's a lot of committed buyers who've already bought above the 52 level and will continue to potentially attract more buyers. So that's why I don't put it like at 52 exactly or 52.03, especially as the price of the stock gets higher, the bigger that factor of safety needs to be to ensure that it's going to move in that direction. So it doesn't happen all the time, but that's basically the plan for it. All right, so that is the last stock that was on the waiting for launch list. So keep an eye on those. We're going to have also stocks that we're going to be publishing for next week. I'm still working on that, so it'll publish later tonight. But you've got enough here to hopefully keep an eye on. And then just a reminder, Trade Ideas, the scanner that I use, the best scanner on the planet, that is offering a 15% discount through November 30th with this code Studio Time. You get either the first month or the first year with 15% off. Find more information at profitmissioncontrol.com/trade ideas to learn more. And final note is to please subscribe to this channel if you like this video and if you'd like to hear more content. I'm still working on a video which I'm going to share next week. Have a great weekend, everybody, and take care.